What's going on, guys? Dayton here, aka Dr. Autoflower. We are back out for a rip, boys. We are going for a little cruise. It's going to be like a vlog question and answer. So I'm going to go through some Autoflower question and answers while riding the board, while showing you guys around where I live, and make it a little more interesting than just my regular talking and answering kind of thing. So yeah, so we got the board here, my backfire board. We got about, I think, 1,200, maybe 1,300 kilometers on this thing. And yeah, let's go for a little rip. Hopefully it's not too windy. If you can, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like button on this video and leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm, and we could really use the support right now. Be really appreciative if you guys could do that. We're just going through the park right now. Lots of people riding their bikes. Seen a lot more like one-wheelers and stuff out this year. I think there's like 4 or 5 one-wheelers in this town, and lots of electric bike riders. I think we're the only ones with electric skateboard, like I think we're the only ones with electric skateboards with like street wheels on ours. Most other people have the off-road wheels. We haven't seen anyone's. We've never seen anyone with the same setup as ours yet. So right now we're just going to go over to my little smoke spot. It's usually a lot less windy there, and it's easy to light up. All right. So first question comes from Eric, and he asks, he started Autoflowers and ran them for 6 weeks under 24 hours of light, and they weren't flowering. So he switched them to 12 and 12, and then they started flowering. But because of issues, and he wanted to keep the environment stable with lights off, he wants to switch back to 12, or he wants to switch back to 24 hours light. Now I have a couple thoughts on this question that he asked. So first off, I would say if you're having humidity issues when lights are off, that means you need some better air movement. You need a better exhaust fan pulling that air out, because if you leave all that air just sitting there while the tent's all closed up, it's just going to make it super humid and not a good idea, especially when you get closer to flower or harvest. The bigger your plants are, the bigger the buds, the more humidity they're going to put off. So that would be the first thing I would address. The second thing is your autoflower is not really flowering till 6 weeks, and only after you switch to 12 and 12. To me, that kind of sounds like you might have an issue with the genetics. I'm not sure what you're growing. If it's normally supposed to flower at like week 3 or week 4, sounds a little iffy to me. Usually you can tell good genetics because it will flower under 24 hours light for autoflowers. And if it doesn't, then it's not really that stable of genetics. So my thoughts on it is, if it is unstable genetics and you are going to switch it back to 24 hours light, then I would say you're starting to stress that, because it's got a lot of photoperiod genetics in it, and that could stress it to the point you hermy. Personally, if it was me and I was growing unknown genetics and it did that to me, I would probably assume it's not stable, and you're going to have to grow it under 12 and 12 light for it to flower, because you're saying that's how it started to flower in the first place. So that's usually not a good sign if it's an autoflower. So that would be my take. And if you did switch it to 24 hours of light, you are risking stressing it and herming it. And it could also go back into veg. If it is more photoperiod leaning, it could just go straight back into veg. And that definitely does stress the plants out. So I'd say it's up to you. I personally would just leave them 12 and 12 and flower them out, get some better genetics next time, and go from there. All right, now we're gonna get back on the board, do a little tour while talking about question and answers. The next question comes from Kalik, and he asked, he planted a seed in, I think, the spring, around April, and he said it has not flowered yet, and he's asking, is it autoflower? So I would say if you planted a seed and you're not sure if it's autoflower or regular, by this time in the summer it should have started flowering. It should have at least started flowering like month 1 or month 2. Outdoor autoflowers, I did notice they do take a little bit longer to actually start flowering, but they do start flowering before photo periods. So to me, it sounds like you got a photo period. Definitely buy from reputable sources or get it from reputable sources. But when you are growing autoflowers outdoors, I have noticed they do take longer than normal to actually start flowering. But I am in a weird climate. I'm in way up north here in Canada. It could be way different in tropical areas or warmer areas. That's why I really want to check out Thailand for growing. Do some outdoor autoflowers. Could be able to do some awesome experiments and see what performs the best there, because you get some awesome sun over there, but maybe it's not the best environment sometimes during like the rainy seasons. But I think it could be really fun to experiment and play around with outdoor. All right, little change of scenery here. Getting out of this park, going to another park. 920 ass. Foxtailing, is it okay? Do you want to avoid it? How do you avoid it? He just wants to know in general about foxtailing. So for me, I would say I would want to avoid foxtailing as much as possible. Usually foxtailing comes when your environment's not that good, like if there's too much heat, or I think sometimes a little too much stress, probably mixed in with the heat issue too. But I've usually seen it with heat. So usually what you want to do is give a proper temperature to your garden, and you should avoid that. Also, you don't want to give too much par with your lighting. That's why it's also good to use a par meter to make sure you're giving your plant the exact par they need and not too much, so you're not stressing it and getting foxtailing. Foxtailing also comes with lowered potency of your buds, so you want to avoid foxtailing as much as possible. Optimum temperatures and optimum environments is really important. This is also why it's important to have a good exhaust fan, good fresh air coming in for your plants. All right, next is Griefster asks, what autoflowers are good for outdoors? So I don't have a ton of experience growing outdoors with autoflowers, but what I do know and what I would recommend for if I was doing it again, I would go for the most reputable brands, and I'd probably go for one of the faster, best indicas, because you kind of want your crops done faster outdoors so less things can happen to them. That's just me. I wouldn't really want to be growing anything sativa. And again, just use good brands. Mephisto, Night Owl, there's quite a few, Ethos, there's some very reputable brands. I would just stick with those. If you want to try experimenting with other ones, just go online. If there's lots of people saying they're good, stable, good genetics, give them a try. If there's lots of people saying there's having issues with their genetics, I'd say avoid. Over here in the middle of the town in like the event park here, and I think I should probably get out of the center of town. It's probably a little bit too noisy and a little bit more windy, so I think we're gonna head over to the other parks on the north side of town, the Ball Diamond Parks, and do a little exploring there. I think I'm doing pretty good with the question and answers on the move. Staying out of traffic today, I guess, kind of helps. A little bit too windy over this side of town too, so hopefully on the other side it's going to be less windy. Hopefully the audio holds up on this GoPro. Got a nice little bike path here. Doing a little uphill action right now. Doing 25 kilometers an hour, take it a little easy. I think I'm going to go for another little smoke break here, smoke the other half, and get back to the question and answers. Back in the park now. Now I gotta find my special spot. Alright, I'm back in my special little spot. Gonna have a little puff break and get back on the board. Giving my board a little rest here. Did about 6.5 kilometers on it. All right, we are back on the road. Got a little soundtrack going here, some cruising tunes. Oh, looks like the smoke's coming back. It was pretty clear here for a while, but now all the smoke's coming back. All right, so Ben asks, what is the best type of training for autoflowers? I would say this is up to you and how comfortable you feel in the garden. I say train as much as you want. If you want to train hard, train hard. Some people like to top, some people don't. I don't. It doesn't really suit my growing technique. Some people really do like to top. Some people like to do high stress training. Maybe in certain situations, high stress training is good. Maybe if you have a small area and you have a really big auto, maybe you got to do some super cropping or maybe some topping or something. I've seen that too. It all really depends. But normally I would tell beginners you probably want to start with low stress training. So the low stress training is a little bit better for autoflowers, especially if you're a beginner, because the name of the game is you do not want to stunt your plants at all. You want the least amount of stunting and the most and also like the best environment for them to grow in, and that's how you get the best results. So normally that's what I tell people. Start with low stress training. Leaf tucking is really easy to do and helps makes the branches in the bottom branch out further and give more light. Tying the top down really helps too. Sometimes some people just want big Christmas trees, so some people don't do anything at all. I do like to do LSTing sometimes, not all the time though. So I usually always prefer leaf tucking technique as the main thing I do, and then from there do a little tying up, if needed. But do what feels best for you. Some people really want to try the more technical techniques and stuff, so I'd say give it a try if you want to experiment. So Midnight Silver Run says he still sees autos as finicky as they were 20 years ago, and he's asking, is there reputable people to get your genetics from? That is a huge yes, and I tell pretty much all beginners, go with Mephisto in the beginning, because that will change your mind on autoflowers. They are pretty much the best autoflower breeders that I know of in the world, like consistently always putting out amazing genetics. I don't think I've ever really had bad genetics from them, or a plant that I was like, oh, this isn't that good. So highly recommend them. Also Night Owl, he was with them before, but he left and started his own thing, so definitely recommend him too. He's got really good shit. And he mentions how autoflowers are finicky. I would say it depends on where you're getting your genetics. I haven't had finicky autoflowers in a long time. And if you're new to the whole autoflower thing, I would say start with those breeders I recommend. And then if you want to branch out from there, I would highly recommend you do your research on them. Look on forums, look if people are saying some really good things about it. Check out the bud quality that's coming out of them. If it's like, you can tell really good bud quality compared to not so good bud quality. There is pretty telltale signs, and that's one of the ways I judge genetics. So if you're not seeing like amazing pictures of them coming out, then maybe it's iffy. If you see amazing looking buds, amazing looking plants, lots of people saying good things about it all over forums and Instagram and everywhere, then that's usually a pretty good sign. And also ask around in the community, see if they are reputable breeders, see if other people have had issues with them in the past. The whole autoflower community is very much a research community. The vast majority of people I know who get into autoflowers are people who really like to research things. Still pretty damn smoky today. Gotta go through a bit of a residential area and get over to the park. I'm always searching for like really nice paved roads because I have street wheels on, so I really appreciate them, but it's like super buttery smooth on these. Absolutely love these kind of trails. And we're almost at the park. We'll do another little question and answer. another super orange sunset coming in with all that smoke. Now we're in the ballparks here. Still pretty damn windy though. So Nick asked, what is the perfect temperature and humidity for rock hard buds? So it kind of depends if you're going LED or HPS. Back in the day, if you're going HPS, you would probably want your temperature at about 78, 79, and you wouldn't really want to be over like 50 humidity. But I think it's more about your par level, the amount of par your plants are getting. That's probably more important than the humidity and stuff. That's why I always recommend getting a par meter and checking your par. For LEDs, you would want your temperature to be probably 82 is probably the perfect temperature for LEDs. LED lights, plants take in the LED light at a different temperature, and if you start going over like 86, that's when you start running into issues. So you want to keep it below that. Got a bunch of new construction going on here in the parks. Not sure what they're putting in. Probably soccer fields, I'm guessing. Tennis court over there. We got into a little bit of tennis this year. It's hard on the knees. I'll show you guys this side of town. This is the walking trails and paths near the hospital. Got some nice little some water wetlands here. My parents didn't have to evacuate today, so that's nice. I guess the wind turned and it's not blowing directly at them, but I guess it's a little bit sketchy because the fire is pretty damn close. But it is making some nice sunset, so that's the nice thing. Board's doing pretty damn good today. It's been doing pretty damn good this whole summer. Now that it has over 1,000 kilometers, I should probably do some maintenance on it, clean it up again at the beginning of the year, but now coming the end, we should do some more. But it is dual motors, as you can see here, and they are powerful beasts. I'm probably 180 pounds, and this can just rocket me up the hill. My first board back in like 2013, 2014 had only one motor, and I thought that was pretty badass. Now this is really torqued up. Yeah, I don't see why anyone needs to go faster than this. It can go like 50 kilometers an hour or something ridiculous. I don't know. It has a turbo speed on it. I've never even used it. I have it on sport mode, and that's more than enough. I don't think I've ever actually like maxed out the throttle on this thing. It's just too damn fast for my liking. But I do like how it's really powerful. You can just rip up the hills. Makes it really handy. Beautiful sunset on this nice little path. So I think I'm going to end this little vlog here, this little question and answer ride. Hope you guys liked it. Maybe we're going to do some more of these. Makes it a little bit funner. Actually get out and do some riding, show you guys some scenery while I'm doing the question and answers. So let me know what you guys think about this style of question and answers, and smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm, guys. Let's get out of the algorithm doghouse here and get to making some awesome new content. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you for watching. Always appreciate it. Much love to everyone out there, everyone who supports the channel. And if you have any questions you want to have on this question and answer episode, the next one, put it in the comment section down below and we will feature it in the next one. So until next time, guys, peace out, and we'll catch you guys later.